Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Entertainment Now podcast. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
As always, if you're watching this on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up, drop us a comment down below, do all the fun YouTube stuff you're supposed to do. If you're
Do it
listening
now.
to it,
Do it now.
do it now. If you're listening to us on one of your favorite podcatchers, leave us a review. I don't know if you can leave comments and stuff on there anymore. Oh, you can leave. Can you leave comments on Spotify or?
I don't know. I do
know.
listen to podcasts on Spotify very, often.
I
Not
generally
often,
don't.
but I know you can on Apple.
Yeah, well, you can leave reviews on Apple. You can leave reviews on Spotify too, but leave the show a review if you enjoy it. But
well, leave a review and make it a comment if you want.
yeah, sure.
You don't have to tell us how shitty we are. Just tell us what you want to tell us.
Yeah, whatever. But what's going on, Ian? What you got go? Have you been watching anything lately? I know you have.
Well, just Star Trek Picard. First episode dropped the other day.
Yeah.
A plus.
What day did those come out?
Thursdays.
Thursdays.
Yeah.
Oh, so just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, just a couple days ago. A plus to be fair, the first episode of season 2 was like A minus, and the rest of the season was like a
C
D minus.
Oh, really?
A couple
that
episodes
bad?
were neat. Yeah, they dropped the ball so bad on that season.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think they kind of dropped the ball in this first season, but not as bad as they did in the second season.
Yeah.
But this season is the first episode A plus. It's the best Star Trek episode I've seen first run since 2004 or 5.
Okay, well, that's good.
So
it's promising, I guess.
And I liked Strange New Worlds as well, but this episode is better than any of the Strange New Worlds episodes too.
Yeah. So what is Strange New Worlds?
It's Captain Pike, so the captain before Kirk.
Yeah, I know who he is, but is it like live action or?
Oh yeah, it's live action.
Okay.
Yeah, it's well done. There's a lot of people who shit on it, but and I understand where they're coming from for the most part, but I think for me, after Discovery, anything's an improvement, and maybe that's why I'm okay with Strange New Worlds. I actually enjoy Strange New Worlds.
It seemed like a lot of people were down on Discovery. A lot of people hated it.
So the problem with Discovery is it's kind of the J.J. Abrams problem. It's Star Trek in name only, and it's trying to be part of Star Trek without actually being Star Trek. And the other seasons, it's people are just half of the episodes are just people talking about their feelings.
Yeah.
And
I will say that I only saw like the first part of the first season is all I ever watched.
And the first season is the absolute worst Star Trek I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They redesigned the Klingons, and they're telling you it's part of the same universe.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. It's like I get want people wanting to bring something new to something to this, but you're playing in
something's been established for 60 fucking years, 50 plus years.
Yeah, 56 and a half years at this point.
Yeah.
But, if you're gonna play in the sandbox, play with the sand you have.
Yeah.
You can make different sand castles, you can do different things, but use the sand that you got. You don't bring in new sand. You don't put Star Wars sand in the Star Trek sandbox.
Yeah.
You don't put Halo sand in there and Fortnite and all that other crap, because there's a lot of complaints about that. They're kind of swiped certain designs and that are very reminiscent of video games, and
I didn't understand. Like I said, I only saw the first half of the first season, and that was all I could make it through. And I was like, it wasn't terrible. I didn't think it was terrible. It just wasn't. It was weird. I would say is probably the best way I could describe it.
It was Star Trek in name only.
Yeah.
Season 2 improved over that a bit, but they introduced Pike in that and a young Spock. Pike was really the standout, and that's the only reason that there's a Pike show, because people liked Anson Mount as Pike so much.
Yeah,
but they said, well, you got to do a show with him as Pike, and they did, and they fixed a lot of those problems with Strange New Worlds too. There's still some issues though, so Who knows? At least they're using the sand they have in Strange New Worlds. Whereas this episode of Star Trek Picard, the first of season 3,
Yeah.
it is they are not just using the sand, they are they're playing with the sand castles that were already built. They're just it's Star Trek.
Because here's the thing, and this is the thing I didn't understand with Discovery is, you why do you need to reinvent the wheel?
Right. Well, that was my argument for the J.J. Abrams movies too.
But I felt like a lot of the stuff that J.J. Abrams did, even though it was different, it still worked. The stuff that I saw, at least like I said, in the first half of that first season of Discovery, it didn't work.
Right.
No,
you're right. I would say
I understood what, like, I didn't agree with everything that J.J. Abrams did. Right. There's probably a lot of stuff I didn't agree with, but I understand why he did it and what he was trying to accomplish with it. Yeah, it pissed a lot of Star Trek fans off with what he did, but he was trying to bring a new generation into it.
But again,
some of the stuff he changed didn't need to be changed, and that was kind of what I had an issue with. But yeah.
Exactly, like the entire design of the Enterprise, making it look like some Art Deco thing. That made no sense.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't give a shit about all of that, but
well, that's the stuff that bothers me, because I'm a visual guy, and this is another thing. His lens flares. This isn't just a Star Trek thing. What the use of lens flares? You're making a movie which is a visual medium, but you're flaring out every fucking scene.
Yeah.
What's up with that? That's a J.J. Abrams complaint. That's not a Star Trek complaint. I would say, if given the choice between 3 options, I can only ever watch Star Trek Discovery, I can only ever watch the 3 J.J. verse movies, or I can never watch Star Trek again, I would pick the J.J. movies.
Yeah.
So
they're good movies.
I'd take those over having no Star Trek at all.
Yeah.
But that's about the best compliment I can give to at least the first 2. The third one was a much improved Star Trek film because it was a bit more Star Trek.
Yeah.
But even that,
I felt like it was a lot more Star Trek. But.
Yeah. But, the problem with the 3 of them is when you got to the third one, now you've destroyed the Enterprise 3 times in 3 movies, basically. So I don't know why they did that, but anyway, Star Trek Picard season 3 off to a great start. We were talking. I might do for this, just for the channel, like a weekly quick review of every episode as it comes out. So we'll probably post that. There won't be one for episode 1, but from episode 2 on.
Yeah,
I'll probably do something like that.
Yeah, we just toss them up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, just for fun, and I can kind of
just for shits and giggles.
I can vent because, hey, like I said, season 2 started out with an A- episode and a little less good, but started out strong. But by the end of episode 2, I was just like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And by episode 5, I was like, oh shit. So many missed opportunities. Just being insincere to characters that are well established.
Yeah,
you're
not the only person I've heard that from. I mean, right. I haven't watched the second season. I watched the first season. Mm-hmm. I had not watched the second season of it, but I read a lot of reviews on it, and a lot of people were, had a lot of the same complaints you do.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, they brought in Whoopi Goldberg, and when Whoopi Goldberg's on screen, it's great. Yeah. But she's in the first episode, and then they recast her for a younger version in the later episodes.
Yeah.
And as a younger version, but a version that already knows Picard, yet this particular version doesn't know Picard. It doesn't make any sense.
It's I don't know. It's almost like laziness. It's lazy writing. It's being insincere to established timelines. Right. They've been there for decades.
Right. So, and I think this is why I'm far more hopeful for season 3. So Terry Matalas, who's running season 3, he's co-wrote most of it. He's the executive producer. He's in full control over what season
Yeah.
3 is. He did work on season 2. He worked on episode 1, part of episode 2, and episode 10. And those are the only 3 good episodes in that whole season.
Yeah.
There's an episode in season 2 that is like 60% just Jerry Ryan as 7 of 9 and Michelle Hurd as Rafi standing in a parking lot waiting for shit to happen. I'm not shitting you.
That's hilarious.
It's half of an episode that's only 38 minutes long.
Yeah. That's a whole lot of standing around.
It's a whole lot of standing around. So I mean, it just didn't work. So season 3, much more hopeful. It's off to a fantastic start.
That's good.
Jonathan Frakes, this is the best acting and performance I've seen out of Jonathan Frakes in the entirety of Star Trek.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I definitely need to check it out. I probably still won't watch season 2.
You don't have to.
You don't have
you
to.
Really don't.
That's what you told me.
There's like one plot point that's kind of wrapped up really quick near the beginning. That's a leftover from season 2.
Yeah.
And you blink and you miss it anyway. The rest of the season is just going to go on as if it's a 10-hour Next Generation final movie, which is what Terry Matalas has been wanting to do.
Yeah.
So, and he worked on Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek Enterprise. So he's not new to Star Trek either.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see. We'll see how it all unfolds. In the very first episode of Entertainment Now, we were talking about like TV shows, I think we talked about Friends and things like that, and I said I wanted to start watching what you recommended that I watch, How I Met Your Mother.
I said you'd like it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost done with the first season of it.
Yeah, it gets better too. The first season, just like every other show, is it's always the weakest season. Generally.
Oh, really? Because the reviews I was reading about it said that the first couple of seasons were the best, and then it like really dropped off after that.
I mean,
I'm hoping it gets better because it's like right so far I'm like it's okay.
Yeah, it was funnier when it was Friends.
Yes, yeah, I will say that.
Yeah.
It's
a
and there is a very strong like Friends like Ross and Rachel dynamic.
Yep,
that goes on in the show,
and that goes on for a long time.
Yeah,
but imagine if Joey and Rachel had much more of a relationship on top of that. So imagine who the Joey character is, and you get what I mean. No, I actually thought the humor was better in later seasons, but maybe the overall like arc was a little weaker. I could say that, but I thought the humor was better in later seasons for sure.
Yeah, so far, like I said, I'm enjoying it, but it's not
grabbing you like Friends would.
No, but
nothing.
It
is. I mean, the only thing I could say about it is it's kind of a poor man's Friends.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a good way to put it. But like, if Neil Patrick Harris wasn't in that show, I think it would have been a bad. It would not have worked. Like, I feel like at least so far in the first season, Neil Patrick Harris like makes a lot of those episodes. His character.
Well,
does.
To be fair, that's probably consistent throughout, but you do come to appreciate or at least like the other characters almost as much. But the Barney character is the star of the show.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's got the best lines too. So.
And that gets, like I said, that even gets better. So
so
they kind of go into his backstory too, which is kind of really like not what you would have thought.
No,
I think that's later. They may have already started. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't want to give anything away, so I won't ask.
I mean, I already know how the show ends. So
yeah, he meets the mother.
Yeah, I think she's in the last 2 seasons. I think.
No, I think she's just in the last season.
No, I think it's the last. I think it's season 8 that she premieres in. Like she's in the end of, like the very last couple of episodes of season 8, and then she's.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you're right. It's been a while since I've watched them, so, and I only I watched the first couple seasons more than once, but the last few seasons I only watched one time.
Yeah.
'Cause I think I think it'd be fair to say you should watch the whole series.
Oh,
But
I plan on it.
I don't think it's going to be a series that you'll be able to go back to like Friends, because it's not.
Yeah,
Even for me who enjoyed it, it's not a series I can go back to. I might be able to do it like once every 5 years or something, but
yeah.
Friends I
There's
do every year, you know.
for the most part, I mean, there's very, very, very few shows I'll watch over
Over.
again.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, like Friends, ER, um, Sopranos, Entourage. That's kind of about it.
Excuse me. Yeah. As far as like sitcoms and shit go, Friends is probably it, other than MASH.
Yeah,
MASH is a show I can watch, but it's not a show you binge. You just some days
yeah,
you might watch 10 or 15 episodes in a sitting,
yeah,
but you don't binge a whole series of MASH because
yeah.
it could probably give you PTSD. But not like Game of Thrones will, but
I guess Game of Thrones is something I've watched multiple times also.
yeah. I'm still trying to watch it once.
Yeah. And I
I'm in
really liked I
I'm
really
in season
liked
6.
I really liked the new series too, House of the Dragon. I thought
Yeah.
it was really I thought the first season was really good. Uh I really loved how the season ended. I wasn't really a fan of the like time jump through it, but we'll see how season
I don't know
two
what that is.
plays out.
I'll
Well,
tell you what.
they jump ahead like 10 years, like
Oh, okay.
midway through the first season, and like recast a bunch of the characters.
Oh.
Yeah. Like
So
some of them, like the main character of the show changes after like the fourth episode.
eh.
It was weird, but
By the time I'm done watching Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon will probably be in its like third or fourth season. So
probably,
I'll have plenty to watch. I'll have no
probably,
shortage of Game of Thrones world universe to.
yeah. And I really like. I think some of the casting so far for House of the Dragon is better than the casting for Game of Thrones. Like I really like the people that they put in those characters.
Right.
I think they fit them. Like the shitty characters work. The people they picked for them absolutely work in those roles.
Right. I think with Game of Thrones, a lot of those actors were kind of unknowns
Yeah.
when Game of Thrones
Well, I
started. I
mean,
mean, Maisie Williams and what's her name were kids, and
yeah,
her Bran was kid too.
yeah.
Who knew Kit Harington? Nobody.
No, nobody.
Amelia Clark
Sean Bean was the only person that really had a career
before that. Yeah, I mean,
before
well,
that.
Lena Headey. She was in a
Yeah,
bunch of
that's
stuff.
true. That's true.
She was relatively well known. Is that how her name's pronounced? Heedy?
I think so.
Uh,
But really, it really is just those two. Everyone else was all new.
or just well-established British actors in British
Yeah.
TV, and not,
Yeah.
because as it went on, there were a lot of like even famous British actors, in there.
Oh yeah, because everyone wanted to be part of it once it.
Well, to be fair, Julian, what's his name? Julian. He was the bad guy in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Okay, yeah.
He's
I don't remember
the
his name.
he's the main maester or whatever for
Yeah.
the king. The guy who's like the really old guy.
Yeah.
So he was well known to American audiences, but to be fair, I also didn't recognize him until after I found out who he was, and I was like, oh shit, that is him.
Yeah.
Because he had aged considerably since the last time I saw him in anything.
But as far as House of the Dragon goes, I think Matt Smith is the only like known, like established, well-known actor.
Like, yeah, internationally known.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's enough to get me to watch it. So,
And he's one of my favorite characters in the damn show so far.
yeah,
So
he's
he
a
does
really
great
good
job.
actor. It's amazing.
He plays a really shitty person in the
right.
House of the Dragon,
well,
though.
that's kind of a testament to being a good actor,
Yeah.
because he's not. I mean, he was the Doctor, Doctor Who. He was the 11th, and he got that at 23
Which I don't know what
years
the
old.
fuck any of that means, but okay.
Well, he
I've
played
never watched.
No, but
I knew he played Doctor. Yeah,
right.
Doctor Who.
He played the Doctor in Doctor Who. So he was the 11th person to play the Doctor. That helps.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Okay.
and he was also the youngest at 23 years old. So when he got
Yeah, he's
that
not
one.
very old.
No, well, I mean that was
And that was what
2010.
2010. I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
when he got Doctor Who, it was 2010. So
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like scrolling through the list of other people on the show, and I don't really know.
I will say this: Matt Smith does not have a good track record for his films, though.
You want to know who he reminds me of, especially in House of the Dragon when he's got long hair. He reminds me of the guy that played in Ghostbusters 2. The guy in the
the
Vigo,
old,
whatever his name was, the guy that was in the painting.
Yeah,
That's exactly who the fuck he looks like.
Yeah, I could see that. He well, he was in Terminator Genesis, which I actually enjoyed.
I don't think I ever saw it.
I enjoyed it, and Amelia Clark's in that too.
Oh, is she?
She plays Sarah Connor. I liked it. I thought it was a bold move, and it was well done to kind of reboot the series, and it didn't do well, so they just ignored it.
Scrapped it. Yeah.
Yeah, just like they do with all the sequels. They make one, no one likes it, then they just move on and do another one.
That's what they do, man.
He's also in Morbius.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I don't know who he plays because I haven't seen it, but I know.
I haven't seen it either. Speaking of,
I think it's Morbius. It's one of those. Maybe it was Venom. I don't know. It was one of those shitty Sony Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Speaking of Marvel movies.
Speaking of Marvel movies, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to kind of. So we both recently saw Ant-Man and Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania. I just want to call it. It's Ant-Man 3 is basically what it is.
Yeah.
And it's gotten a lot of really mixed reviews.
Yes, it has.
I
can understand some of them.
Oh yeah. I get some of them. Some of them, like, it's funny though. If you go on and you look at like critic reviews, like critics are trash in this movie.
Critics are always, because they have to.
Yeah, and then you look at like the fan reviews, and it's like a 7.5 out of 10, like which is basically where the other two Ant-Man movies were also.
I read today though that it's poised to have the biggest opening weekend of all three of them.
Of any of the three Ant-Man movies, mm-hmm. I don't doubt that. I mean, so I took my kids to go see it this morning. We actually just got back from the movie theater, mm-hmm. and we went to. Now, granted, it's a Sunday. You and I saw it on Friday.
Yep.
I went to the exact same time slot that we saw it on Friday, and that theater today was almost packed.
Wow. Yeah, it was. Would you say it was even a third full the other day?
When we saw it, it was at least a third full. It was definitely less than half.
Right.
I would say today it was probably more than 3/4 filled today.
Okay, which makes sense. Friday morning, kids are still going to school.
I was actually surprised there were that many people at the theater Friday when we saw it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me it's going to have a big opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because it's people are now finally, feel better about going to the theater and seeing movies and things like that. And Marvel stuff is always going to draw people out.
Right.
I think even had the Eternals been released now, opposed to a year ago,
a year and a half ago, maybe
a year and a half ago, I think it would have done a lot better than it did in the theaters.
Yeah.
Also, it was released on Disney Plus also, so that kind of I think it kind of hurt.
Was it? I thought it was like 2 weeks after. Like there was
maybe it was. It was pretty close to the when it came out, because I didn't go to the theater. It's the only I think it's the only Marvel movie I have not seen in the theater since I think the first Avengers movie. No, Age of Ultron I didn't see in the theater.
Age of Ultron was the first one I saw in the theater, and I've seen everyone since. So
yeah,
I went and saw Age of Ultron just solely on the strength of the first Avengers movie too. I'd seen the series, but I hadn't really paid much attention.
Yeah,
and it was after that I really kind of delved into the whole Marvel universe, cinematic universe.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? Now that I think about going back, I think no, I'm wrong. The first Ant-Man movie was the last one I didn't see in the theater. because I thought it was a dumb premise.
Well, I was
And
afraid it was
like,
going to be a dumb premise.
yeah. And then I saw it. I think I rented it from like Redbox or something like that way back when, and I was like, oh damn, this is actually a pretty good movie. So
yeah, I was amazed how well. But see, and that's funny because that's kind of the standard for the MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy. Who would have thought that was going to be such a great movie?
yeah,
And I probably wouldn't have been if it had been done by somebody else, even with
yeah.
the same script.
Mm-hmm.
But leave it to Kevin Feige and that
They know what the fuck they're doing.
that brain trust. Yeah, Kevin
they know what they're
Feige.
doing.
It's basically Kevin Feige and John Favreau. Those are the two that have been really kind of guiding the MCU. Less John Favreau in the last, say, half of
decade.
But he's the one who got it started. If it
No,
weren't
absolutely.
for John Favreau, there wouldn't.
It would never. It would never happen.
Yeah. So
he was the one that got that got Iron Man off the ground.
Yeah.
And it had it not been for the success of those Iron Man movies, well, at least the first Iron Man movie, the MCU would have never happened.
Right. Absolutely. And even that, it's like at the time I was like, Iron Man, really?
Yeah, exactly.
And with no perception of some kind of shared universe where there's 20 plus movies.
Yeah.
Just Iron Man. I'm like, really? Iron Man? That's what
going with? It seemed like a strange pick to kick the franchise off. To
start off. Yeah, exactly. So what do I know?
Absolutely nothing.
And now I'm going to give you my review on the movie. Someone who knows absolutely nothing.
So the movie, I don't want to give too much away, but I don't really. If you listen to this and you haven't seen it yet, we're probably going to spoil some of it.
Some of it, yeah.
I'll try not to spoil all of it, but
we'll try to keep it spoilery free as possible. How's that?
Yeah, we're going to give some of it away though. But the whole premise of the movie is they get sucked into the quantum realm, where Scott Lang had been there before. Several of the characters had been in the quantum realm before.
Well, Janet Van Dyne was there for like 30 years.
30 years, yeah. But none of them had been like this, other than Janet, had never been this deep into the quantum realm where like there's other universes.
Right.
Because as far as Scott and Hank thought, it was just a vast nothingness.
Right.
And then they go down
microscopic and atomic, and that's it,
Yeah.
Subatomic, maybe.
Subatomic, yeah. And then they go down there and there's this whole universe down there.
Yeah. All kinds of creatures. Yeah. I have a question about that. That's one of my nitpicks, actually.
What's that?
So, I mean, I'm going to try and science this up with something that can't be scienced up, but theoretically, if there shouldn't have been oxygen in the quantum realm.
I think you're thinking way too much into it, Ian.
And even if you want to say in the quantum realm there was oxygen, as they're traveling to the through the different getting smaller and smaller, getting to that quantum realm, the second they're this big, oxygen particles are too big for their lungs.
Yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie.
I know. It's funny, and I say that, and then I think about it. I'm like, I liked Honey, I Shrunk the Kids when it was brand new in 1989 or whenever that came out. I actually thought that was a great movie. I probably still do. I just haven't watched it in 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
But, and there's no way they would have survived either. Same principle. But yeah, that was it actually was occurring to me as they were traveling down into the, and it wasn't so much that they were trying. It was half of them didn't have the suit. None of them had the suit, other than Scott and
what is her name? Hope. Yeah.
Wasp. They're the only two that had the suit. Well,
the waspy one.
They're the only two who put the suit on as they were traveling down.
Yeah, because what's
her name had it too, but
his daughter had her suit, but
right. but she didn't put it on until halfway through the movie.
She didn't put it on until halfway through a battle scene. Like, they're
No,
like getting attacked with it.
It
Yeah,
was before that. It was before
no,
that.
they're like
before,
getting. So they get captured.
It was in
They
Act
get
2,
they
but it was near the end.
they get captured, and then they're taken to this like the rebellion camp, right?
Yeah.
And then the the evil Empire characters find them.
Yeah.
By the way,
there's some Star Wars parallels
some
here.
very fucking strong Star Wars vibes that this movie has, especially the second time that I saw it. Like, first off, Kang, he's Darth Vader.
Yeah,
he even has the fucking cape and everything.
Yeah, and like, and theoretically the mask, even though
the mask, yeah.
This does not the cool mask. It's like a blue mask.
Yeah, and the battles on his base in his in the little capital city,
right?
Like even the battles in the hallways look like battles on the Death Star.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that when we were watching it. Yeah. I was okay with it. I don't. Yeah, that doesn't bother me because
no. I think for this to be the MCU's version of a Star Wars movie, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, although I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a better example of MCU's version of a Star Wars movie, the first one.
No, I mean,
at least as far as like sky battles and shit like that.
Yeah, I feel like this had stronger visual connections.
Yeah, that's probably
true. Yeah.
I think just because Guardians of the Galaxy really is in space, maybe that's why I say that. But
yeah, even Kang refers to the people he's fighting against as a rebellion. I think,
well, I mean, that's what they are.
They are
essentially.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you come into a land and say, "Hey, I'm going to conquer you."
Yeah,
you're bound to get some resistance to that.
I'll say that one thing that kind of bothered me the second time I saw the movie is it doesn't really feel like an Ant-Man movie.
Right.
It feels more like a Kang movie, which I think
that was intentional, to be honest.
It was, but I think it kind of minimizes Ant-Man's role in the movie.
Yeah.
In a lot of scenes, he seems almost irrelevant in some scenes.
Oh, a lot of the whole plot. I mean, really, he's relatively irrelevant because there isn't anything that he does that Wasp couldn't do.
Well, they don't defeat Kang without Ant-Man.
Right, but that's about the extent of his involvement in that whole thing. But it's not even his plan, it's Hank's plan.
Yeah.
Janet's really the fighter, and Hope like I said, if Scott wasn't there, they would have just adjusted the plan for her to do what he did.
Yeah.
Essentially. Which, I mean, she does do that too. She does it almost accidentally.
Yeah.
I
think one of the biggest, I thought one of the best parts of the movie is the scenes between Michelle Pfeiffer and what's am I drawing a blank on his name? Jonathan Majors.
Oh yeah, that's it. I'll say
they're fantastic together.
Michelle Pfeiffer is really the star of this movie, if you ask me.
I think Jonathan Majors is, but
well, okay, I'm talking, excluding the villain, because you got to evaluate the villain on a different level. But excluding the villain, she's the star of the movie, in my opinion, because she's the badass. I mean, she's more badass than Ant-Man is, for sure. Michael Douglas is understandably relegated to doing things that don't require him to run and move around a lot. He's sitting most of the movie, to be honest with you, or walking. He's sitting or walking. That's about all he does. But he's great. He's great in it. But that's all he does as a result of his age, I would imagine. She's kicking ass though. She's running. She's fighting. She
does a great job in it. She's fantastic in the movie.
Yeah.
But I think as far as like Jonathan Majors, I think the role of Kang, especially after watching it a second time, I think he could be one of the best MCU characters.
I think he might surpass Thanos if the trajectory goes the way I think it's going to go. I
Yeah,
think he'll be a much, and that's saying a lot because Thanos is really a great cinematic villain. Um, and again, we've joked about this. Arguably, he might not even be a villain.
yeah.
But King might not necessarily be a
I
villain
don't.
either.
I'm not convinced that Kang is necessarily a villain,
Right.
even though he is. But
Well,
Kang's
he's a villain with a, in the best sense of the term, because he thinks he's right. There's bad guys like Lex Luthor who know they're doing something wrong and they don't care.
yeah,
But Kang and Thanos, they're doing really bad things, but they're doing it because they think it's for the greater good.
yeah. So this is where the whole spoiler point comes in, is like the whole point, like Kang's end goal is that he's seen how the universe ends. And the universe ends by all the other Kangs in all the different multiverses coming in and killing everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And he's seen it. So what he's trying to do is kill all the other Kangs. But by killing all the other Kangs, he's destroying timelines. And he's burning down timelines because the other Kangs have ruined those timelines. So the Kangs, like three main Kangs, get together and banish Kang to the quantum realm, where he can now no longer do that.
Right.
So that's all he wants to do is get out. He even says that he wants to burn them out of time, and he's referring to the Kangs that banished him.
Right.
And that's why he even says the only way to save it, the only way to save everyone is to let me out.
Right.
And they don't.
No,
and there's even a point at the very end of the movie where Scott Lang's walking down the street, having a good old day, and even like stops, thinks to himself, "Wait, what the fuck did we just do? Right. Did we just kill? Did I just kill everyone?" Is what he thinks.
And then, you know what? Actually, I love that part because it was just because it's so like.
Because it's exactly what I was thinking at that time.
Right. Like, he's like, did I just kill everyone? Did I really just do that? Oh, it'd be all right.
He's like, I need to stop overthinking it. I'm good.
Right. And yeah, that's like a total Paul Rudd thing.
Yeah.
I know he didn't, but I'd almost think he had lived that.
Yeah. I can see him doing that.
Yeah.
I can see him doing that.
Just his humor,
Yeah. But that's the whole thing with Thanos too, is like, Thanos was trying to save the world the universe by depopulating it, because there wasn't enough food for everyone. There wasn't enough housing for everyone. Right. You had this like consolidation of power in the universe that was, killing everyone else basically.
Right.
And Thanos' way of dealing with that was to get rid of half of existence, and it was just completely random who would disappear.
Right.
I personally, I don't think Thanos was 100% wrong in all that, but maybe he went about it the wrong way. But
yeah, I think if he had the power to wipe out all of or half of existence, couldn't he have also had the power to just like multiply the resources?
Possibly.
That's where I think he went wrong. It's a logic problem, I think, with the story, but
yeah,
I think if you're gonna analyze it in story, like that could have been one of the areas he went wrong. Maybe he could have been seen as the savior he wanted to be if maybe he just multiplied the resources rather than halving the populations.
Yeah. And the crazy thing with Thanos is he thought he would be seen as a savior,
right?
That he was not.
No, I actually I think
he even says that in Endgame.
Yeah,
he even said in Endgame, he even said that they would be, that he thought that they would hail him as a hero. But what
Not
he didn't but what he didn't realize what is that people would rise up against him and never stop fighting him.
I I get the feeling because I mean I just watched this like 6 months ago again. But I got the feeling that the Thanos at the beginning of Endgame, the one that gets his head chopped off, is very cognizant of the fact that he he knew at that point he knew he wasn't getting any recognition for it, and he was going to live out the rest of his existence as a pariah to the rest of the
No,
galaxy. I mean, he's kind of resigned himself to it. It's at least, and maybe it wasn't that he was aware of it; he just resigned himself to it. But the Thanos at the end of the movie, the one from the past, yes, very much. He's like, "Stop fighting me! I'm going to save you all."
yeah.
Doing this for your
They
own good.
but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the MCU goes forward. You
Well,
know,
I don't know if you heard, but today they announced that they moved the Marvels from July or June to November.
good. I think they should because there was nothing. They had nothing at the end of the year
Oh,
uh, other than like some TV shows.
right,
I thought it was kind of weird that they were like bunching. You had Ant-Man 3, you've got Guardians 3, and then the Marvels all within like 4 months of each other.
right.
So I think it makes sense to push it back
I
unless
guess just
unless
it's weird that they pushed it all the way back to November.
they normally have something that they've always released, at least the
Mm,
prior to the pandemic, they
right,
release something at the end of the year every year.
right. Hmm. I never
So
really paid much attention. I just,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, they
there's,
normally like there for a couple of years it was they were releasing two movies. One would be in the spring, one would be like towards the end of the year.
hmm,
October, November, somewhere along those lines.
okay.
So yeah, I thought it was kind of weird they had everything bunched up. That's why I was wondering if they were gonna like surprise drop something
In the end of the
in the
year.
end of the year. Um,
Mm,
Even if they were gonna, I don't know. I'm really
yeah.
excited to see the new Loki series.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too. Especially
the
after this.
yeah, especially after the end credit scene.
Yeah. I need to go back after Star Trek Picard is done, and Mandalorian is done because that starts on March 1st. I'll probably do videos for that too. Um, once those two shows are done, I'll go back and rewatch Loki.
Yeah, no, I definitely need to go back and see. I don't know when. I know Loki 2. I think it says summer. I don't think they've given a date
Mm,
for it this year. But it's supposed to be out in the summertime.
okay.
So hopefully sooner rather than later.
Is that the only show they got coming out this year?
No, I think there's more than that. I don't know. I don't have the list up, but
Yeah.
I think there's more than that coming out this year.
Because I was even thinking there was another movie coming out, but I can't think of what it is. But
No, it's just the three movies this
three
year.
movies,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna Google it real quick.
What's that? Oh,
What
you're looking
Marvel
to see
shows?
what phase are we in? We're in phase. This is
I
phase
guess this
5,
is
right?
phase five. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is
Uh
the first episode of phase 5.
oh. So if
Um,
I'm reading this right, Loki is
yeah,
um
it's just those three movies: Ant-Man, Guardians on the 5th of May, and then the Marvels November 10th.
yeah.
And then next year they're doing the same thing. It's going to be Captain America May, Thunderbolts in July, and then Blade in September.
Yeah.
So
As
it's
far
like
as
spread out.
yeah, as far as the TV shows, Loki's still it's slated for late 2023. But
Okay.
so is Echo, so is Ironheart, and so well Agatha's listed as 2023 or 2024. And then
I don't know. I don't
Daredevil.
know. So what I'm looking at here is still says Loki is mid 2023.
This is the variety list. It just says late 2023.
Mm.
Um, Daredevil is spring of 2024. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm actually Echo and Ironheart. All three of those. I'm really looking forward to.
I think they're all gonna be good
Agatha, I
series.
think Agatha
It's
might
gonna
be
be
good.
interesting to see how they play them out. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be the important thing.
Yeah. I think Agatha will actually be pretty good because Catherine Hahn actually was the best thing of WandaVision, if you ask me.
She was. I think she played a great role in that movie. I was a little surprised by her character in that show.
Yeah.
Not to give too much away for
Right.
something that came out 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Well, I'm spoiling a movie that just came out last week.
Right. Yeah, so I'm excited about the slate overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think the acting was great in Ant-Man. You know,
So
I felt like some of the story points were a little weak.
Yeah.
The visuals were great. I thought the CGI was fantastic. I know there's been a bunch of people complain about the CGI in the movie. I didn't have any issues with it.
No.
I did see a couple of points the second time I watched it where I could tell that they filmed it a specific way for 3D.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I guess I can have an issue with that, but that's not something it doesn't really ruin the movie for me.
No.
It just a couple of like it was literally like two main things I saw in the movie where it's like you could tell the way they shot it was for a 3D version of the movie. So
yeah,
which I'm not gonna go see a 3D version of it, but I know it's available.
I know. I've never been a big 3D guy.
No.
I did see Freddy's Dead in 1991 in 3D.
Yeah, I think I did too, actually. But
yeah, but I just need to see the movie. Call me old fashioned, but 2D is fine for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
like so. As far as like ranking it,
do you want to do like a 5-star or like an A to E kind of thing?
Well, for this guy, I think 10 stars is probably a better way to do it.
Okay.
Gives you a little bit more because I think it's what a lot of them do. Yeah. Out of 10, I'd give it a solid 7.
Yeah,
out of
that's
10.
exactly what I would give it to. I could even go as high as 7.5.
Yeah,
depending on my mood. But
I think this is one of those movies where it's going to set up a lot in the future. I think this is a movie where people are down on it now, and then by the end of phase 6, when the whole Kang storyline wraps up, I think you're going to look back on this movie. I think a lot of people will look back on this movie with a different opinion of it.
And to be fair, I mean, even the first Captain America movie, which I love, is essentially that too. But when it came out, it wasn't the most popular of the bunch.
Yeah. It's still my favorite MCU movie.
The first Captain America?
The first Captain America movie.
It was for me until Civil War came out.
Yeah.
Actually, even Winter Soldier. I take that back. Winter Soldier was my favorite, and then Civil War was my favorite. Then it gets a little iffy because Black Panther is fantastic.
Yeah.
The first Doctor Strange was fantastic, although Black Panther's better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of difficult to say. But to be fair, you wouldn't have Black Panther without Civil War. It's kind of a sequel to Civil War, so
Yeah. I don't know. Like as far as like my top like 5 or 6 MCU movies, they're all really close. They're all fantastic movies. Yeah. As far as like so this is the Ant-Man 3 is the 31st MCU movie. Wow. I'd put it somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's a bad movie.
No.
I don't think
it's a setup movie.
I don't think there's a bad movie in the MCU, but you're right. It's a setup movie.
The Eternals would be the closest thing to a bad MCU movie.
Yeah, and it's not even a bad movie. It's just it's an irrelevant movie.
That's exactly it. It's just it's irrelevant, and it actually sets stuff up from its irrelevancy to that they have to actually explain now because the whole Titans coming out of the planet. They kind of explain that, but completely unnecessary. You know,
Yeah.
all it really does is serve to set up Black Knight and Blade, and that's in the post credit scene or the mid credit scene.
Yeah.
So.
We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. But like I said, I still like the movie. Like, I've seen it twice now. You know, it's still, like I said, I think it's setting up something big for the MCU. I think Jonathan Majors is the perfect pick to play Kang.
Oh, he's fantastic in it. Yeah.
And I can't wait to see him in
he was
Creed
fantastic.
3.
He was fantastic in Loki. Excited for Creed 3. I don't know if I'm gonna go see Creed 3 in the theaters though.
Yeah.
I might. I want to, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. It's not a pandemic thing. It's a crowd thing.
Yeah. You got an issue with crowds.
I do.
You don't get enough crowds in the hospital.
That's precisely why I don't like them in my free time.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they operate all this moving forward. You know, but after seeing this movie, I'm kind of excited to see what they do with the rest of Phase 5 and Phase 6.
I was going to ask you, I think this just started Phase 5, right?
Yes, it was the first movie in Phase 5.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'm excited too. There's nothing on the slate that I'm like, I'm excited for everything.
Yeah.
So.
But I don't know. Any questions or comments, you can email us at entnowpod@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook. And that's about it. Anything else you want to add there, Ian? No?
Yeah,
I mean, well, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the rain.